Welcome everyone to the Master Vox, where today we have another riveting SD2 monthly tournament game. With me co-casting is the Graham Slam. Graham, would you like to introduce yourself and the players?
Yeah, though you did kind of just introduce me, but yes, hello. Welcome in here on Cell, I believe is what we're playing on.
Yeah.
We have another Maverick versus Balance matchup. So kind of the iconic one on the right here in the red. We have Avalser playing as 6 Airborne, and then on the left we have ColKoneig playing against Rapana. Probably a division that's probably my least. I hate playing against Rapana. Like I absolutely detest any matchup I have to go against that Finnish garbage.
Wait, you actually hate playing against them that much? Like, you gotta tell me
Especially
why.
on this map.
Oh yeah, because this map was designed for them.
Yeah, it's like this, there's portions of like other ones where they can be, you know, I think of like Ilamonti, there's a portion of the map there where they're really disgusting. But yeah, overall, I find the entire Finnish playstyle to be abhorrent. And so I really don't enjoy playing against them, like, whatsoever. It's I've never enjoyed it, and so I'm not going to sit here and say I want to see 6 Airborne win, because that's just wrong, because I mean, obviously they're not what they used to be, but let's just, you know, I wish both could lose, I guess. How about that?
So basically you're telling me you're stuck between a rock and an actual hard place with who you want to see win this game before we even see it go off.
Well, good casters, they don't want anybody to win. They just want a good show. So, my problem is I find that it's hard to get a good show sometimes with Rapana because of its play style, I think is the best way to look at it. But we do have 6 Airborne, which can bring some dynamic gameplay, I think, to the match. We do see some T-26s. The Tempest did jump in during my rant there and got some damage, and I think something died. I don't...
So right now, what we have right now is the Tempest actually killed off a Tenko Junta squad that's over there by the BAF-C. And then in the south, what we're seeing here is a probing attack from Avalser. Though the Lotl 39s are doing the Lord's work when it comes to destroying light armor. I think what we're going to see here is we might see Avalser try to, with his Maverick income, not just his income, but like his ability to have some light armor, do probing attacks in a lot of different areas, even though the Finns dig in real good.
Yeah, they can be really annoying to uproot. Like, that's well, CC goes down right there. Especially these, like, as these games go on, like, typically, like, the Finns just have this ability to not die, maintain a presence. Their artillery used to be, like, you couldn't counter battery the, I forget which piece it was they had. Like, you couldn't counter battery it, so you had to, like, manually do it if you wanted to, and it felt like they were, like, you know, had a UAV above you zoning in so they could blow up your shit.
Yeah.
I mean, the 1,000 meter range on some of the, right? It's 1,000 meter range on the machine guns for the,
for the CCs, yeah. The automatic rifles for the CCs, so they have the 1K sniper and automatic rifle, I think. Let me check. What do we got?
I'm trying to think. They used to have longer range on one of their machine guns. I forget which one it was. Maybe that's changed. You know, I have not analyzed every balance patch, but I'm pretty positive once upon a time, the Finn. I know that they were the first ones to introduce the higher SMG range with the Suomi 150. They were the first to do that, and I'm pretty positive they had a longer range LMG, but I could be wrong there. Now we do see, like, obviously Avalser pushing up forward here. He's got that infantry which is exposed. It's a BAF. See, it's, you know, it's basically just a 45 mil Soviet captured vehicle. That's not going to do a lot of damage there. As we see the PaK 75 try and get a heat round into it, and it will succeed getting a kill there. You know, this isn't war game, so this infantry can actually walk across the open without auto dying in front of these T-26s, but they will get stunned most likely. And
yeah, they're getting massively thinned.
I wouldn't want to see, like, you really don't want to see your expensive elite infantry, like Ox and Bucks is one of them, getting kind of killed because you're being a little too aggressive, which I think is what's happening. He's being a little too aggressive right there on that hill.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing here is he feels that need to uproot them as fast as possible.
By ColKoneig.
Oh yeah, the Tempest, I really do like one thing that Avalser has done with this Tempest is it hasn't pulled it back to rearm the bombs, but instead he's kept it up as like an air superiority fighter.
Yeah, he's basically trying to assert air dominance, which you kind of want to do, because funny enough, Rapana does have a lot of planes.
Oh,
I don't think any of them are like necessarily like, wow, this is the greatest plane ever on the planet, but it can get extremely annoying, and for a division that lacks AA and 6 Airborne, having your Tempest just kind of maintain, like, that's a very war game thing. Like, keep your ASF up and let him loiter and put an end to it. And it did snipe one of the Hawks right there. That is dirt cheap. It was only 70 points. But that is a nice little gain there for Avalser, kind of maintain some aerial superiority.
Yeah, I think one of the big things with Rapana, like, way back in the day was they didn't give them armor except for, like, a single card of T-26s, but they gave them so much air power to, like, try to counteract that. And that was a really interesting combination back when it first came out. But we're seeing that still be viable. Like, honestly, Zeal is probably, like, one of the best examples of where Rapana can play well, just because it doesn't have the maneuverability. Like, if we look here, the Rapana player, ColKoneig, actually has pushed through and caused a salient in the center of the map, right? But he has no armor to exploit it. He just has infantry, and so he's going to have to spread out and try to, like, form defensive posture.
Yeah, and Avalser actually does win this little tank engagement here, so that's kind of nice for him. Now, I will say, like, Lotties would be a huge thing. Like, Lotties, like, having just a few of them spread out inside, like, his, with his infantry is enough to deal with Tetrarch spam.
Yeah.
It's very rare. Like, I mean, there was a point in time where nobody even brought those really in 6 Airborne. You were just like, it's not worth it. That Tempest, though, does come in and get a bombing run, but it's going to immediately evac, because we see the Blenheim here. Because down south, there is a strong infantry push. Yep. This is a spot that I like to push on this map, especially from a Avalser's point of view. And dealing with the T-26, you know, getting good engagements for his infantry, because that's really where I think, like, the medium range is probably where the Brits will shine here. You're not going to be super CQC because of the Jakari spam, and you're also going to have the LMG disadvantage. So I think if you can really win those medium range fights as the Brits, it's going to be very hard to deal with.
I agree, and I really like where Avalser's push, because once he gets over that lip, you really can't get back into that portion, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. One thing, too, about Rapana that's interesting to just remember is that to deal with the light armor that 6 Airborne's going to bring, which, I mean, doesn't necessarily need to, but you can bring out some very light anti-tank weaponry that's more than capable of dealing with it. Whereas, like, 6 Airborne, for example, to, like, deal with a tank, you're probably bringing out a 50-point anti-tank gun. So stuff like, if I'm paying 30 points to kill your 20-point tank, but you're paying 50 points to kill my 20-point tank, that math can kind of add up eventually and get you in a good spot. But we do see here, because that 6-pounder is dead. That's 50 points down the drain for no reason. So ColKoneig with a nice little snipe. These AB pairs dying here as well. We see look at the APC engaging down south right there, putting in some suppressive fire with his DT. These Ox and Bucks, if they were to get caught out in the opening and killed, that's a pretty big loss.
Yeah, no, I think that we're seeing, like, a mild overextension. And the one thing you have to remember about the Finns is there's never just one unit. Like, we're talking, the trees are speaking Finnish in this game right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just basic price point. The Finnish infantry is relatively cheap. Like, it just is. So, dealing with, like, there are benefits to the 6 Airborne having the bigger squads, the tankier boys, right?
Yep.
Putting them out there. But those Finns, like, you can get a lot of infantry, and on a map where maneuver is very hard, it can really start to add up. I mean, if we see in the middle portion of this map, just look how weird it is. This front line is completely out of whack. This is like some SD44 looking front line mechanic trying to, like, just stick down as possible, because there's really no flag there. But I mean, there might be some logic. Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I think there's one thing about this dynamic is the infantry fight between the two, and you're really going to have to just watch who's going to handle them better.
And right now, what we're seeing is, like, if you look in the center portion, we're seeing some carrier reconnaissance and some Tetrarchs walking around as a little hunter-killer squads. Like, it's really interesting. Yeah, because the Tenko the Junta, that, like, engineer squad has a Latil, but that's the only Latil he has in this entire area. And so you're right.
I mean, he does this in T-26s down by his AA, but yeah, absolutely. The 20 frontal armor right there and 10 frontal armor is kind of could be a problem, though. If there was like 1 or 2 more Latos, I don't think it would be an issue.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, is he outranging where the Tenko de Junta is? Because the Latil only has a 500-meter shot.
Yeah.
And, those Triarchs and the Carrier Reese are right outside of that 500 meters for the Latil to fire from the Lato de Junta.
I mean, he could just shift these T-26s along with the BA-10 over there and move them to engage. The Tempest is out, though. That's going to be a problem. and there's no real good answer. I mean, eventually enough 20 mils and a Bofors will put that, shut down all the airplay, but I mean, this is the bread and butter here for 6 Airborne. You want your fighter bombers getting in and out, getting free kills, because the more that happens, it's just so cost beneficial for you.
It's the exponential growth of value for fighter bombers or bombers. Like it's weird. The earlier you bring them in, the more value you get out of them in the long run, because you constantly keep bringing them in and out.
Yeah, especially as the Maverick player right now, because we are in the B phase, so this is the prime time, Action Johnson moments here for Avalser. Let's see what can happen.
Yeah.
Getting those planes out a little early so you can maximize their potential in your most dynamic phase makes a lot of sense. Whereas ColKoneig gets put into a weird position where, do I invest into air? Well, if I invest into air, my air sucks compared to his, right? It just does. It's just not. They're not going to win one-on-one fights against any of those fighters. Or do I buy more AA to try and shut them down when you're already the 75 with the 20 mil snipe.
Yep, another Bloodman coming in. It looks like he's going to get another good kill off on the units pushing into that town.
Yeah, we'll see if he can. The Pathfinder will push forward. Obviously, that won't. The air landing is going to die no matter what. Yeah. So actually, he doesn't even drop. There was that a shift evac order on an attack? Maybe, I don't know. But the Tetrarch's dead there. So the little armored push has kind of stopped. The Little Johns are out supporting those Pathfinders. It's just something interesting that the tanks especially for Avalser, have no HE. So they're very limited.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, that's just the one reason why. I mean, sometimes you wouldn't even see people take Tetrarchs. And the Little John isn't what it used to be. There's a point in time where it was kind of cracked. This isn't that point anymore. So I'm not really sure.
Yeah, because right now these Little Johns are basically just a machine gun with 20 armor.
Yeah, that's legitimately what they are, unless there's another armored vehicle in front of them. And the 130 AP doesn't really matter because there's nothing that it needs to, pin. Same with this off map coming up here to the north. It looks like Avalser's making this his focal point. Typically, it's the hill or the southern side. The southern side, there was some action.
Yep.
The ColKoneig has kind of, I would say, roughly stabilized that position. I would drop this off map right there in the middle of the hill, blap all that infantry, and then come in hot behind it.
And I think that once he can be able to get on that hill, to be able to put like a 6-pounder or maybe a Little John up there to try to snipe at the. Oh, yep, that he's blowing that whole hill up.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah, trying to deny the reinforcement roads here. That's the big one. Ooh, an IR fit, an I-fit 153. God, I can't speak. Kills that Little John.
That right there tells me ColKoneig feels in danger. That move right there tells me that he's worried, because you're not buying a rocket plane to kill a 5-point, 10-point transport that has no real ability, no real value outside of just being annoying, unless you're worried about armor, just dealing damage, maybe sniping, just being annoying. And this off map, if it hits right, could be absolutely devastating and kind of blow this game open. We'll have to watch it.
Yeah, it's just the fact that he's about to break open this position with that off map. Oh, we're seeing units die already. Completely pinned down. The problem is the only thing he's got is that air landing. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, that was a devastating. And once again, the Hawk trying to go in for the Tempest here. It's not going to win that fight. That was better. He was able to dodge a little bit.
Yeah.
He might get behind. There is a chance of that with the Hawk. Now, the Hawk doesn't it's just the problem is that it has the 30 cast. Now, it might get on the tail here. That could be big. The Tempest is much faster, though. So it's kind of funny, we're watching two low tier War Thunder air players try and snipe each other in the air.
Oh god! And the funny thing is Avalser is actually microing the hell out of this Tempest, and the Hawk is just on auto goat hunt.
Yeah, I think he just needs to zoom. He just needs to try and get away, but it's going to be too late here. I think.
Yeah.
I don't see any which way in which this Tempest survives now. There was a moment. And now look at this one, try and dive in to save it. Yeah, that's actually putting it in critical danger because it's going to go over the 20 mils. If there was one more 20, maybe two more, that could have really been devastating. Losing both Tempests would have been brutal.
Well, he's already...
No, she's smoking.
Yeah, he's already lost one recon plane to those 320 mils.
And that one's going to be a while and that one's going to be gone for a while. That was a really nice exchange for ColKoneig. I'm not sure how much it'll affect the game, actually. Longer goes on, it'll have more impact. But that is a nice little dub for him because I think he's been struggling a little bit here in the middle of the past 3-4 minutes.
Yeah, and then the last strike for this 381, this off map, it did a lot of damage, but it didn't actually push all of the Finns out.
Yeah, and the armor's still alive, so he's going to need something to deal with that. Another Tempest was bought, so we do know 3 of the 4 are on the field. The IA-153 is coming in, trying to get a snipe on the Little John. Wow, I didn't kill it. It's kind of surprising. I mean, the first rocket missed a little bit. I will say as ColKoneig, though, there's no reason to panic here. Well, I think that maybe the trade's a little bit better for Avalser. It is still 13-11. You're halfway through B. You probably get about 6, 7 more minutes of kind of like the storm. But this is a big thing with the Finns. The Finns really don't break that easily. They're hard. They're a hard nation to really just kind of like roll through here. Their units are weird. This map is weird at that end. And so he's definitely. I mean, now it's 12-12. He's definitely in this game. This is very viable.
And the other thing is you have to think of is the fact that ColKoneig has constantly pushed more and more infantry into the southern central portion of this map. And we're going to see just a massive breakthrough, and all this infantry is just going to spread out, and it's going to be basically the NVA in Vietnam, just hiding in all these little pockets of trees. And Avalser is only got 3 more minutes of an income advantage. So once that happens, if that exploitation does happen with how many troops he's got there, like, I don't see how 6th Airborne would be able to even clean that up.
Yeah, I think the off-map needs to start rolling. I think that it's time to start blowing open these positions, because once you get really, like, the full weight of Maverick really hits at around the 19, 20, 21 minute mark. That's where you've culminated in your amount of points. We're dumping that on the field. Like, this is as good as it's going to get for your deck in terms of income and presence on the map. But you want to be in a position where you can really utilize all that. A 14-10 is good. I would look for a double tick in the next 2 minutes if you going to win this game, because you really want those the timings matter with Maverick and a Maverick on balance matchup. They're very important.
Yes. Oh, and we have Cromwell 5s coming in to support these pushes. It looks like these T-26s are actually going to hold the entirety of this top of the hill, because the AB Paras don't have any AT, the AB Engineers don't have any AT. He's got
near landing he could bring over. He's kind of like left it there. He could bring one up. I don't think it's not killing all 3. I mean, you gotta count half the Piat shots are gonna miss, but he could at least maybe get 1 or 2 of those T-26s. It is kind of funny that they're single-handedly like being annoying right there. And it's also buying time for infantry to get here. Though ColKoneig doesn't seem to feel that threatened by it yet.
No, it looks like he understood the exploitation was going to happen. Yeah, because ColKoneig is constantly reinforcing that area I was talking about, that central salient that he has going on now, which is forcing Avalser to throw in armor and other like expensive units into this fight.
Yeah, we're seeing like right here. Oh, the flame did not get off. Oh, the Willie Pete was able to actually. Oh no, it did get off. Yeah, so. I mean, if you're trading a 15-point, once again, I talk about math a lot, and I hate math. But you're trading a 25-point infantry unit for a 15-point infantry unit. You're going to win another Tempest down, so that's
another
2 dead.
One. Yep.
Yeah, that's actually starting to get kind of bad. You don't want to lose. Those Tempests are very important, especially like in a fight like this where you kind of want them to help blow open these blobs a little bit. We still haven't seen any another off-map card brought out yet. Maybe like the 170. Like the 203 one instead of the 381. I mean, these Tetrox getting sniped here by these cheap little biplanes.
Yeah, and I honestly think that one issue that a lot of people have with off-map is the fact that you don't have like a follow-through. And right now, Avalser has like an actual follow-through force ready to go. The off-map just has to drop. It has to pin all the Finns, and they have to try and go in there and surrender them, you know?
Yeah, and we see him trying to go across the river here for the bridge. Avalser up here in the north. If Avalser was playing SC44, he'd be winning the game handily right now based on just the front line. But you got to get flags in SD2, and these guys are not going to get across that bridge. There is a Maxim right there to hold them down along with some infantry. And yeah, then that's like this push is probably stopped right there. Maybe he can get across. But then again, like, why is that the point where you want to go? I mean, get the crossroads there, but you're never going to hold that for long. I really think the central hill or the southern position, which is too far gone now, we barely talked about that the past couple minutes. But look, all that infantry's dead. That push, which was right there on the edge in the southern position, is completely gone. There's almost no point in this time in reinforcing there. And if ColKoneig recognizes that front sweep, he could actually end the game in about 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, and I think that once these Ox and Bucks start engaging with their Brens and their Lee Enfields and the Pack 75 engages, because we're going to see a lot of these Tenko de Junta, Ratsovaki, and even the Soviet Pack IG-18. I can't remember what it's called, but the RK-27. The support weapons and the actual weight of infantry will be able to kill these two units, and then it's going to show that breakthrough.
Yeah, we do see the middle. These AB pairs are pushing up. There is a strong counterattack here to try and end the middle incursion by ColKoneig for Avalser. We do see the 20 mils now in the front line, doing some decent damage, actually getting off one. They might get 2 or 3 infantry kills here, which is pretty expensive. The CC dumping from the back. Yeah, the CC does have the 1,000 meter range LMG. Yeah, I knew we weren't tripping.
Yep, it's a 1,000. Yep, LMG and sniper.
Yeah, double blim up north. This is a downside. I mean, these Tempests are gone. Plus, they were the bomber ones. Typically, you don't like the fight. You want a fighter one to kind of deal with it. The Pulsons are not going to be enough right there to stop that.
Oh, the Blenheims got them. Oh, destroyed. Jesus. Yeah, that HE strike. Yeah, that's a
huge strike by the Blenheims. Yeah, very big. I mean, that's what happens when you use light vehicles. I mean, we see the Daimlers, Lil John there trying to exploit. The problem is trying to exploit here, I said a few times, where are you eventually going to go? There's only so many places you can go here because the flags of the way the flags are placed and the way the map's designed.
Look at the south real quick. That exact thing we were talking about is happening right now. And
yeah, if ColKoneig just goes forward, he's gonna clean all that up.
Yep.
Then he's an experienced player. He's been around since the very beginning of the game. I imagine he recognizes, okay, I've seen where the pushes come from. I see where all the investment is. I've defeated a push there. There has to be, he's got to be weak somewhere, and he 100% is weak there. I mean, look at the backline snipe of the flag there for the Flamers.
The CC Pioneer.
He kills Ox and Butt. Yeah, like this is gonna already. There's no way Avalser can win if that happens. Just not. It's just he's balanced and he's Maverick. There's no way, and there's been no dynamic victory or front rupture.
Yeah, the front ruptures actually happened from the Maverick player during right after his point advantage is over.
Yeah, yeah. There's no. It's just the part of it's this map. I think part of it's the decision making of Avalser where he wanted to go. Yeah. Part of it's also the fins. I do not I have never beaten in a competitive tournament game Rapana on this map. It is extremely hard. It was built, like you said early on, built for this map. It's very tanky in a weird way that just doesn't, new players might not recognize off the rip. And playing as you get into those knife fights with them, they are disgusting.
So right now up north we had a Tempest come in, bomb something. It killed a Hawk with a head-on, and we almost saw another Tempest die there. But he got that one out. And you're right about that, and I think that Seal, if you're in a competitive environment, you need to ban Rapana if you're playing Seal. Right? That is the only no-brainer I could ever say.
Yeah, she's disgusting here. This map was built for it. I mean, we see here south, he's having to invest resources now as balance down south to stabilize the front. Avalser is, but I think it's probably too little, too late for him here because of the time. Sure, he has ticked ColKoneig down to roughly lost a third, maybe close to half, a little over a third. But at 23 minutes, you need to be well on your way to ending this game. I think ColKoneig here is probably in the driver's seat, barring something insane.
Yeah, and then what we're seeing now is ColKoneig has a bunch of support units already up to support his infantry pushes. And Avalser is kind of playing a firefighter right now, just putting out as many little dumpster fires as he can.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, we see the flamethrower there is only going to hold that flag for so long. The AB engineer push here in the middle is strong. That is a strong infantry push, but it's getting attacked from two different sides. If this T-26 comes down just a little bit here, which it is, it's going to get an angle. And these Daimler Little Johns, the Little Johns have been worthless. They really have done nothing this game.
Yeah, it's just the fact that they're 20mm protected machine guns, right?
Yeah, essentially, with one of the worst machine guns in the game.
Yeah. And the fact is that the British machine guns, these Bursas, are just horrible. It's almost as bad as the Bren on the infantry squads. But the Little Johns are supposed to be able to snipe Panzer IVs. They're supposed to be able to uptrade. Right. They're 30 points.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're not a unit that you really want supporting your infantry assault. That's just not what they were designed. You said they're an up-trade unit. If you use them properly, there's a chance maybe you can get a nasty snipe, or like you said, snipe a Panzer IV, like do something really annoying with them.
Yeah.
Them going toe-to-toe with T-26s is basically worthless.
Yeah, you're actually at a points negative, because the T-26s are, what, like 10, 15 points or something 15. Like that? Yeah.
Yeah. Up north, he's still holding on up there, and there has been a strong counterattack here in the south. The Lotto needs to come over and snipe the Little John, because the machine is being a little annoying. He's kind of over-invested a little bit in areas ColKoneig, but I still think he's fine. Like he can afford to now at this point in the game, being especially with the tie 12-12. He can make a mistake now and recover from it, whereas Avalser would have to play a perfect game from here on out.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, like the British Paris, Avalser gave up. I was about to say, you have a little Dien Bien Phu pocket going on over here. It's just the Finns are everywhere around the airborne troops.
They're everywhere.
Yeah,
and like full nom.
They did. Let's look here. So the team stats, both players were relatively close, and I think that if we look at the chronology, we're gonna see you see little pockets. Like the first 10 minutes was all 6th Airborne. And then we're seeing the Rapana forces slowly build up in the kill tallies as ColKoneig was able to defend his little positions and then move those support equipment in.
Yeah, and it's I think there was a point in time it never felt to me like ColKoneig was in real danger. There were like a couple moments where it seemed kind of close, like when the first off map dropped, I thought that there was a chance there, but Avalser never quite seemed to know where he wanted to go, and then when he did finally decide up in the very northern portion of the map, I just think that was the wrong decision. That's just such a hard, it's almost like going a bridge too far. I just don't know where you're going to go with that, and so I really think that the division is very hard to deal with. ColKoneig played it very well, and there's two very experienced players, and on probably the perfect map for ColKoneig's division.
Yeah, no, this map, when something was made for it, if you want to think of a division being made for a map or a map for a division, it is the marriage of Seal and Rapana.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
It was a good game by both players, and make sure everyone likes, subscribe, and comments on the YouTube video. Yeah,
I want to, at the very end here, say thank you very much if you've made it this far. I'm blown away by the fact that we've almost hit 1,000 views on some of the videos. I'm happy to keep making this content and keep bringing you guys some entertainment, and I'm sure Graham over here is in the same boat.
Facts.
All right, and with that, it's been another great cast. We will see you guys in the next cast. Goodbye, all.
Bye.